Forging IT security experts. Secure Ninja.
Hey, it's Alicia Webb with Secure Ninja TV. We are here in Tampa, Florida at the TechNet Landforces South Conference. I'm here with Alan Saxton. He is the Hewlett-Packard Worldwide Market Development Consultant for PPS. Alan, how are you?
Good. How are you doing, Alicia?
Very well, thank you. Nice of you to speak with us.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about something interesting today that is a security threat that most people don't realize, and that is printers.
Exactly.
Printers.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you think about printing, historically, printers were really looked at as being these devices at the end of the network. But fundamentally, they're the same. They have the same componentry as a desktop or server. So the way you secure those, or think about security, it's the same on printers that you have to think about on desktops and laptops. And we've come out with a couple different areas around security. So we've really addressed this in what we call a three-pronged approach. And each one of these has an element of security. So we talk about optimizing the infrastructure, managing the environment, and improving workflow. So really, when you think about printing and you go into some of these major facilities, they really, in many cases, don't have an understanding of how many printers they have on their network. So the first thing you have to do is really rationalize that, and how do you optimize? How do you get the right number of printers for the number of users? So that's the first step. The second thing is how do you apply security policies around printing? So if you think about it from a foundational point of view, is really you have to have the right policies in place. So that's one area, and we've got different tools that we've developed to help customers really, one, establish a policy and understand the risks involved, and how do you mitigate those risks within your printing policy. The second area is really around how do you set up printing to where it uses things like authentication. So rather than just sending a print job to a printer and then picking it up, is really requiring individuals to authenticate at the printer and pull that information down. Because what we found is when you walk around a facility, there's oftentimes there's documents that just sit on the printers, unclaimed.
Yeah.
And that's a real security risk. But what we're finding within government is utilization of smart cards, PIV cards, CAT cards within the US that they use not only for physical access, but also informational access. So they use it at the desktop, but also they have to use, or they're starting to use it at the printers as well. So when you send a print job, you have to go to the device. And the nice thing about secure pull printing, which is part of what we call our HP Access Control solution, is that information resides out on a server. Right? So until you come and print it, nothing happens. Until you authenticate it, right? It sits out there. So one, that protects it, the security from unauthorized viewers,
right.
What I would say. The second thing you can do is at the end of the day, you can set as part of your policy to wipe that server clean or wipe the hard drives on the printers clean. So no information, there's no residual information that sits out there.
Right. Is that a practice most people don't do?
It's a practice that more people are starting to implement, but historically, no.
Okay.
They, like I said, they thought of this information just being passed through, picked up, and used.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see how people think that way. So would you say that most companies don't implicate any sort of policies to protect their printers?
No, not most. I mean, there's a lot that are starting to think about printing policies.
Yeah.
But what we're finding is, how do you get started? I think that's a challenge with security because there's so many different elements. Is where do you start?
Absolutely.
And at HP we have several different services that we provide around security. We do things such as security workshops to really help customers understand how to get started. There's other things, what I call a security center. As I mentioned earlier, is when you're setting up the policy, how do you one, identify those risks, and then how do you mitigate against them?
Right.
Secure Ninja Shorts are brought to you by SecureNinja.com, a world leader in information security and IT training and certification. Our master instructors will help build you into a highly skilled and marketable security professional. SecureNinja.com, forging IT security experts.